I ain't heard that in a
brought
while.
up you brought up Saigon Kick last episode, and it got me in the mood.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Welcome
the
into
only
Tunes
album.
Brothers, everybody. That's Scott. That's Darren. We've got Van Halen's Fair Warning. Scott's waving like a simpleton. What? He's such an idiot. All right, Scott, take her away.
All right, guys, we're going to go back to Van Halen. They treated us so good last time, man. So we're going to jump back on the Van Halen train. And I would typically have to say, with good conscience at this point in time, and has been for a while, my second favorite full album by Van Halen. It's Fair Warning. And if I'm not mistaken, it's their fourth studio album.
Yeah, probably. I guess I'm not.
Yeah, because it's the Van Halen 1, then you got Van Halen 2, then I think Women and Children first, then Fair Warning. Yeah, I always get them two confused, Fair Warning and Women and Children, which one? I think Women and Children came out first. But anyway, don't matter. It's a year apart regardless. A damn good, great album. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I love it. Damn near as good as Van Halen 2. And to give my take on it, Eddie Van Halen shows up in this album. And I mean, yeah, he's playing out of his skin on some of these solos. Van Halen 2, he kind of got his nuts cut off, but still the album was that good. That's, you know, just like Rob, or I don't know about Darren's take on it, but sometimes playing out of your skin with a solo that rips the roof off is just not my cup of tea. It's just according about the song, you know, if it fits the song and you ain't Vinnie Vincent it to death. So anyway, I love Fair Warning, always have. One of my favorite Van Halen songs altogether is on this album. Actually, a couple of them, but one of the real favorite ones is on here. And I think it's a complete album. There's nothing on here that I don't like. I even love the what you call a what is it? Damn it!
Instrumental?
No singing. The solo,
Instrumental.
Instrumental.
There you
I
go.
even love that on here. It's kind of demented, but I'm not going to get to that yet. So, you guys, Van Halen, Fair Warning.
All right. Yeah, again, Van Halen 2 was probably my favorite total album from them. And this one, I'm going to have to disagree with Scott. It's not my favorite. Now, there's nothing on here that I hate. I just don't think that there's much on here that lived up to their earlier stuff, in my opinion. That's where I stand on it, and obviously we'll get into the ranking here in a moment. But yeah, like I said, it's just not. I just don't think it lives up to some of their other stuff. Yeah, I know.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, I've got to take Scott's direction here. This was a complete album, a complete pile of shit. There are 9 songs on this album, 8 of which I fucking can't stand. So my overall take.
Really? Are you being serious?
Still, you know, I'm dead. This, I tell you what, is good news for you, because this is fucking worse than Mob Rules.
Wow.
This is worse than the Cheap Trick album we did. This is fucking terrible. I am still waiting for somebody to explain to me why Van Halen was so big. It had to be because there was nobody out in that time period to compete with them. This is fucking terrible.
There's not much different from this than Van Halen 2, bro.
I didn't like that either.
How does that change?
I didn't like that either. I just didn't hate
Yes,
it as
you
much
did.
as this one. No,
Like I said, I don't hate this as much as I didn't as I diss on Mob Rules or that Cheap
I'm
Trick album.
thinking y'all are gonna like this one better than 2.
dude.
No,
I mean, what these songs
what
are?
is okay?
These songs
Okay,
are.
stop, because we got Scott being Scott, and he can't handle when someone doesn't like what he likes. This is my opinion, my take. Now, what is the job of a lead vocalist? To fucking sing, not talk 80% of the fucking lyrics. This is a terrible terrible fucking album.
Okay. All right,
My
then.
opinion, my take. You're going to
okay.
have to come to grips that some people don't like what you like. You don't have to understand it. It's terrible. You asked my take.
I don't
That's
give
my
a
take.
damn. I don't give a shit if you like what I like. I don't really care. I don't.
But you act
But
like it makes no sense to you.
No, it shocks me. That's what
Why?
it does. Because when you like Van Halen,
you know I'm all about the lead singer. All he does is
but
talk.
all of these songs
9-track
are not talking.
Most of them are. They're horrible. And we'll get to my number. In fact, I'll start since I'm already pissed off that I had to spend time in this.
Yeah, we don't need to go out there.
Sunday afternoon in the park. Mr. Van Halen. Somebody explain to me what the fuck is the point of 2 minutes of Mr. Roboto synthesizers for no apparent reason that doesn't even fit the sound of the rest of the fucking album. I thought there was an intro. I was waiting for the song to start, and it just never fucking did.
Yeah.
Horrible. So that's my number 9.
All right. Okay. My number 9. Let's see. Yep, 9 songs. I actually had to go with something besides that, actually. Push Comes to Shove. But like I said, I like everything on here, man. So I like it, but just not as good as everything else. Now, there is one thing about this Van Halen album that differs from Van Halen 2 to me. It's, I didn't have no trouble at all with this one. But I do like all the material on it, even the mellower stuff. To me, they pull it off great. So there you go. Number 9, Push Comes to Shove.
All right. My number 9 song, I sync up with Rob here. It's the instrumental Sunday Afternoon in the Park. Again, to Rob's point, I don't think it fit anything else on the album. And yeah, maybe he wanted to do something that stood out, but unfortunately it stands out for the wrong reason. So number 9, Sunday Afternoon in the Park.
Yeah, I will say something to that about what they're doing when they do this crazy stuff like that. It seems like every Van Halen album has something like that on it. I don't know why. But
I think this is the first album that they didn't actually cover somebody else's material.
Yeah, I think Diver Down is all covers, if I ain't mistaken. Yeah, but we'll deal with that later. All right.
All right. So my number 8, possibly the worst selection ever to lead off an album, Mean Street. This is no way to set the tone for an album at all. This lacks anything that could be considered energy. The droning chorus on here is enough to make someone want to commit suicide. And one of many of the annoying David Lee Roth talking to himself breakdowns. He's been doing this his whole fucking career. I've never liked it on any. Hey, how's it going? What the fuck? Hey, dude. He's a fucking moron when he does that shit. It's not a song. It's not singing. It's an interruption to any kind of flow a song may have had. Terrible song, number 8, Mean Street.
All right. Number 8. Both
This
of
ain't
you
meant
had
to be
this
funny,
one.
man. I'm being honest. I told you guys if you give me some horrible shit, I'll do it. But you're gonna get my honest goddamn.
I know you're not being funny now. It's went on too long. So
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon in the park or at the park, whatever. That's my number 8. It's just because I like everything better. I really don't have much to say at this because I love the talking in the songs. I don't disagree with it at all. It never bothered me, and I never looked at it like you look at it. So so that's where we differ. I
That's
just
not
think they're great.
exclusive to Van Halen. I just have never, like Guns N' Roses does a decent job with knocking on heaven's door till the telephone starts dialing and they start having a conversation in the middle. You just ruined the whole fucking song. For me, I don't like.
Well,
just sing, man. Just sing.
I like it. So
Oh, it's fun.
I might not like it. I might not like it with every band or according what the song is or whatever. If it fits, it fits to me. If it don't, it don't. That's just the way I am too. But yeah, the bass solo and synthesizer and the crazy. I just love that, man. I think it's just fucking awesome. It's just wild sound. It's like a damn UFO or some shit, man. Outer space shit. I love it. I think it's cool. But that's my number 8.
All right. Well, we gotta have to ring the bell again. I swear I didn't collab with Rob on this.
Oh, I didn't ring the bell the first time. I completely forgot about that.
Mean Street is my number 8. My notes on this song are gonna kind of mirror what Rob said. Although I did add, it was a nice guitar opening. I liked the opening, but it is more speaking rather than singing. It's lackluster, and it's a poor choice for an opening song. That's
my biggest problem with it. Why would you choose that out of all of them to open the album?
Right. I mean, again, you are a rock and roll band. The first song should capture the audience, in my opinion. Yeah. And Mean Street didn't do that. I mean, came nowhere close to setting the tone that I would expect from a caliber band of Van Halen.
And that's
they've never been a favorite band of mine, but I mean, they do have some good tunes. Like I said, I give props to Eddie. I've always liked Dave as a front man, and there are times where he sings his heart out, right? But it's few and far between on this album, in my opinion.
And that's, I think, why I'm overly pissed off about this album. It's not that it's that fucking surprising that someone made an album this bad. I've spent my whole goddamn life back to my teenage years being called an idiot because I don't like Van Halen. So I thought, okay, we're gonna break into this whole catalog and find out what I've been missing. It turns out 1984 is all I needed to fucking hear so far. Because this shit is garbage.
Oh God.
So what are we up to? My number or Scott's number 7?
No.
Right? Mine?
No, you didn't say your number 7.
Okay, my number 7. 1 Foot Out the Door. The final track on the album. And my notes are finally the suffering ends, but not before this piece of shit has to be played. Another terrible fucking song. I don't understand how a band comes out with Dance the Night Away, Running with the Devil, Unchained, and some of these great tunes when this is just like Cheap Trick, right? Whatever hit they had is it on that album and the rest is garbage. Is that what we're doing here? I mean, that's the way it looks so far.
No, they actually had 2 on this one.
All right. Well, that's my number 7.
Well, bell ring again. 1 Foot Out the Door. That's my number 7. Now, like I said, I like this song, but it's a totally different vocal performance from Dave on this album. It's an erratic, almost erratic sounding song, man. It's like, hey, we're in the studio. Here's that song again, just screwing around, beating the drums, playing lead almost through the whole song. Dave singing like he's talking through one of those speaker things. But It don't bother me, man. I mean, I like it pretty good. It ain't my favorite on here, so it's number 7. One foot out the door.
All right. On my list, number 7, I have Dirty Movies. It's a cool title, but the song doesn't live up to the name by any means. Now, again, don't hate it. I do have some generic good notes. Like, I think the guitar is good all the way through, and the bass playing on this song is really good. But the song is boring. I mean, if you're singing about dirty movies, I would have expecting this to be, I don't know,
like girls type.
Yeah, something. Not something that's mid-tempo or slower and just bored the snot out of me. But that's, again, number 7, Dirty Movies.
Well, number 6 is my Dirty Movies. And have you ever heard a child pick up a guitar of any kind, acoustic, whatever, and just start raking the pick all over places? That's what the intro to this fucking song sounds like. He's clearly playing above the nut, right? Up by the adjusters, by the tuners. And no specific pattern for no apparent reason. It's like someone's just half passed out, just flicking their hand back and forth across the top of the guitar. Sounds terrible. But beyond that, I hate the delivery style of the verses. And again, basic talking and droning chorus. Another annoying Diamond Dave breakdown where he feels like he's got a. God damn it. There's the echo.
It's the hood.
So we'll leave off on number 6, end it, and come back.
All right.
There we go. Okay, so that was my number 6, which brings us to.
Did you ever say the name of the song? Because
yeah, it was. Well, I probably didn't because I was piggybacking off yours with Dirty Movies.
Okay, so it's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Number 6 for me is, I guess he's talking. I don't know. Sinner's Swing, man. Yeah, dude. It's like I said, man. I like all these songs, and like y'all, I think it's a damn good album. And that one just winds up in the middle of the pack because I like the rest of it better. I mean, there's 5 songs on here I like better than that one. And that's, great groove. Probably one of the highest tempo songs on here. But good. I like the groove. I love the sound. Dave's talking vocals, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Ring the bell. This time I match up with Scotty. Number Sinner's Swing. So this is the 3rd track on the album, with the first 2 being Mean Street and Dirty Movies, which were, in my opinion, slow tempoed. Sinner's Swing picks it up a little bit more. So I have, it's, like I said, it's more up tempo than tracks 1 and 2, but it's not a good song. It really, again, a lot of this album left me wanting more. But yeah, Sinner's Swing, number 6.
Funny, this album left me wanting less. All right. So my number 5 is So This Is Love. I find they have something positive to say about a song, and that is a wicked ass bass playing in this thing. But it's just followed up with more of a boring verse and chorus. I just don't understand, but it's just something that's not going to be for me, apparently. Pre-Van Halen, pre-1984. We'll see.
Yeah, because you ain't got many more. You know what? 3.
Like I said, I like a handful of their songs, but apparently it's 1 or 2 per album. I mean, we'll see.
Okay. Well, number 5 for me, Ring the Bell. So This Is Love. And I like the song, man. Like I said, I think, of course, I like all of it, man. I mean, I mean, we're just completely, yeah, I guess this is we hadn't had one this bad since Mob Rules, I guess. That
Not for
I
me,
can
anyway.
think, that I think, I mean, really, I guess I'm a little more mortified.
Mob Rules doesn't bother me. I mean, I didn't enjoy it. That one we just like to give you shit for. This bothers me like Cheap Trick, and only because I've been fed my whole life how great these two bands are. And then when I finally give it my full attention, I am utterly fucking disappointed. That's why it rubs me the wrong way. If I had no preconceived notions of how Van Halen was supposed to be the greatest rock band to ever live, this wouldn't bother me as bad. But now I'm left sitting here wanting to, I'm left here sitting wanting to confront every motherfucker in the past who had the nerve and audacity to tell me Kiss sucks and Van Halen rules and just punch them right in the fucking face.
No, you got a point. All right.
Oh, man.
My number 5, I know Rob's already talked about this one, not being interested in it, and I felt the same way. This is one foot out the door. It's track number 9, and my notes say I'm uninterested by this point. It's not a horrible song, but it's not good either, right? It's just a lot of this is just lackluster. There's nothing that really, except for one song, and I think we're probably all going to.
We all know what that one song that doesn't belong on this album,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's again not a horrible song, but it's not good either. It's just in between somewhere, and it would get lost in the shuffle, obviously, between their, the very good songs that this band has. It just falls out of place.
Wow. I'm hoping this will be y'all's worst album. My God. Yeah, man, I've always loved this one, dude. There you go, man.
Well, Scott, but a lot of that, in fairness, Mike, did you listen to this fairly close to when it came out?
Yeah.
Okay. See, here, there's the big disconnect. You grew up with it, where I'm 50 years old and hearing this for the first time, and I've got decades of legendary Van Halen talk in my life. So when you hear that, you have a certain expectation. And then when you hear it, and it's nothing like any band I listen to, and I'm not even talking about Kiss. I'd rather listen to AC/DC. I'd rather listen to so many other bands than this. This isn't even tempting me to want to go deeper. It's just disappointing. You at least grew up in that time, so you connected with it more.
Yeah. Again, it's 1981 when this came out, right? So I'm 8. I'm not listening. Yeah. I'm not listening to this, right? But I went through a phase sometime in my 30s. So we're still talking at least 20 years ago, right? Or maybe a little bit less, where I decided that I was going to give Van Halen a more of a fair shake, right? Because I've always been like I said, they have some good songs, but like Rob, I've heard, when people ask me if I like them, and I can take it or leave them, right? There's some good songs that I can definitely listen to, but there's a lot of the stuff that either I didn't know or didn't care for. But I went through their whole catalog, and it just solidified my opinion. It's a band that I can listen to at times. They have some good stuff, but a lot of it to me is just filler. It's just, like I said, I'm not going to say I hate it by any means, but it doesn't fit. I shouldn't say it doesn't fit. It just seems like it's one or the other. It's hit or miss. There's hardly any in between. So it's number 4 to you, Rob.
I'd go so far as to say they've almost got their own genre, because it's not something I'd call rock and roll. It's very unique. I'll give it that. Between David Lee Roth's vocal styling, Eddie Van Halen's playing, and the fact that they go anywhere from keyboards to acoustic plucking to, they got such a diversity in their sound that it's almost a genre in its own. I can't literally compare the sound of Van Halen to any other band. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending if you like.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
4 to you, Rob.
4 to me?
Yeah.
I think you guys both talked about this. Sinner's Swing. Again, I got slightly less annoying talking verses. I have some good notes on some songs. I try, but I'm not going to lie. So this one, as we're going up, these are ones I hate the least.
All right. Fair enough, man. Okay, number 4. I don't want to hear about it later. Yeah. I don't want to, baby. I don't want to. Freaking love it. It's mellow. It ain't high tempo. It's just a rocking tune, man. Great goddamn lead. It sounds good on this album. So, yeah. Hear about it later. Number 4.
All right. Well, ring the bell one more time. I sync up with Scott on this one again. Hear about it later. Number 4. I do like the guitar opening. I think it's a good riff to begin with. Although I don't mind the solo, I felt that the solo didn't quite sync up with the rest of the song. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's a little quick. But
yeah, it's a little funky, right? I mean, and quicker than the rest of the song. So again, I just feel it's a little out of place, but it doesn't kill the song, right? I mean, I still have it at number 4. So yeah, hear about it later.
Okay, number 3. I think one of you touched on this. Push Comes to Shove. I have on here funky bass intro and groove that I absolutely love. The music's a bit scattered. Timing wise, it kind of bounces around. The only thing that annoyed me on this one is when he does his falsetto. That almost sounds like he's kind of hoarse at the same time. And if falsetto's not for everybody, so if you can't do it, don't have Michael Anthony do it. I know damn well he can hit them high notes. But all in all, it's not a horrible song. So there you go, Scott. There's a win.
All right. Yeah, I had to put that one last. So there's a win. But anyway, just fucking with you. Number 3 for me is one I've always absolutely loved. Now, these 3 are my 3 playlist tracks. Yeah. Take it off. Take it off. Dirty Movies, man. Great song. Love it. I don't care if he's bullshitting in it, man. I think it fits. I love it. Great song, man. The drums, everything. I mean, the musicianship on this album, I love, man. Yeah. The Silver Screen, man. Number 3.
All right. Well, ring the bell because I'm going to match up with Rob on this one.
Oh, with me. Okay.
Yeah, I already covered Dirty Movies. That was my.
That's right.
Push Comes to Shove. So this is the song that follows up the really, really good tune on this one. So it's slowed down a little bit from that one. I do like Dave's smooth vocals on this one, but overall the song is just a little lackluster, right? I mean, but it's still better than 6 other songs on here. So Push Comes to Shove is number 3.
Okay, my number 2, Scott just recently touched on this, and for those who care, my system is 1 through 5. I have 3 through 9 received a 1. My number 2 received a 2. So hear about it later. Awesome guitar intro. I love the chorus with the clean channel. I love that. They got some really cool tempo changes after that intro. So that one came out of the hate bucket and just put on I don't want to hear it again, but it's decent.
Hey, there you go, man. Yes. Okay. Number 2 for me. This one's tough because both of these are number one to me, but I put it at number two because you got to have a list. It's I know what it is. You shaw's number one. It's Unchained. Fucking fantastic, man. Absolutely just fantastic.
Let me ask you, what other song was released off this album, Scott? Was there another album released off this besides Unchained?
Yeah, Mean Street.
Which one?
Man.
Mean Street? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Unchained. What the hell can you say, man? Great, fucking fantastic song, rocking out, man. Just badass. That's it, man. I mean, it's always been either my favorite or second favorite on here. Both of these songs here at the end have always been my favorite two songs on this. That's never changed. So, number two.
All right. My number two song, both of you were pretty quick to name this one. So either I have a concussion and like the song too much based upon both of yours reaction, but So This Is Love is where
I was in the middle of the pack for me.
Yeah. I like it. I like all this.
I think Dave's vocals on this are good. It has a decent solo, but the bass on here is what really stands out.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's all I have in my notes. Something had to come in at number 2 on an album that should have been a 45. So This Is Love would have been the B-side of my album for this one.
That's a damn good analogy right there. Okay. So my number one should be no shock to anybody who's got ears. Unchained, which I earlier mentioned does not belong on this album. It is like a completely different band in a completely different studio in a completely different decade. It doesn't fit. It would be like having the greatest hits of ABBA, but the lead-off track is Creatures of the Night. It doesn't fit. Unchained, unbelievable guitar riff, intro, the guitar rocks all the way through. The chorus is larger than life. Dave is at his absolute David Lee Roth, Diamond Dave best, in my opinion, much like he was when he departed Van Halen. This song, right up there with Dance the Night Away, Running with the Devil, all the big dogs. I'm just left saying, what's with the other 8 fucking tracks? How do you have a writing session and a recording session with that song and your next 8 tracks are what they are? It makes no sense to me.
All right.
The end.
Number one for me, and has been for a while. What a way to open up the album. What a way to start out ripping that fucking guitar in half. And just going into the damn melody, man. Dun, 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 dun. Just dun, dun, dun. This is home. This is Mean Street, baby.
You realize that's a mid-tempo song, right?
Right, no, that's a rocking song. That's as rocking, if not rocking everything. Unchained, bro.
Yeah, it's as rocking as Every Rose Has Its Thorn. It's right up there. It's a headbanger. Yeah. It's a headbanger.
Yeah, this and here will shake you loose, man. And great vocals.
Yeah, maybe a bowel movement might shake that loose.
And
no, I'm not even saying, I don't even care if you like the song. I'm just trying to figure out where you get that this is a rockin' song. It's not a hard rockin' song.
I mean, you're an AC/DC fan. You should know what rock and roll is.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard rocking song, man. It's as heavy as freaking Unchained, bro. I mean, those are the two songs on this album, man, that are probably
a different version of this album that you've listened to that Rob and I didn't.
Did you get an import?
No.
So everybody's entitled to their opinion here. All the viewers, you're entitled to your opinions, but let the record show Scott said Mean Street's as heavy as Unchained. That was not me. That was Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it right here, guys. Turn it up loud, man. Lay back and just listen, man.
All right.
All right.
Man.
Well,
Halen.
Ring the bell one last time because I match up with Rob. Anybody with a pair of ears should. Unchained. It's the best song on here. It has been one of my Van Halen favorites for a very long time, right? This is a great fucking song from start to finish. That riff is second to none, right? I mean, great stuff from Eddie Van Halen on there. And like Rob said, it is classic Dave, right? This is Dave at his best. And the supporting cast, everybody else.
Yeah, you can really hear Michael Anthony in them choruses on this one.
Absolutely. It's, again, it stands out so much on this one. Like I said, this would be the A side for me. So This Is Love is the B side. This should have been a single, should have been a 45. Could have saved himself a lot of time. And yeah, I might be pissing off a lot of Van Halen fans, and I'm sorry again.
It may have been a single. I mean, I don't know what was on the B side, so you may have hit it just right.
Well, no, they released a full-length album, right? I mean, they could have saved themselves a lot of money and just recorded 2 songs. Released, and then, because, again, they're putting out something every year here, right? I mean, you had Van Halen 1 in 78. Yeah. You have Van Halen 2 in 79. Women and Children in First in 1980. Fair Warning in 81. Diver Down in 82. And then a 2-year break between 82 and the album 1984. So they're putting shit out.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Album, and that might be one of the reasons why bands stopped doing that, because unless you have a lot of help and you're writing some magnificent songs, but a lot of this I don't think should have been published. It's just not good enough. I mean, they could have easily. Yeah. I don't know. Again, I don't want to piss people off, but it's my opinion, and I don't mind. You don't mind?
I mean, that's why a lot of people. Why a lot of bands done that a lot of times after their first album. Sometimes it's record companies, man.
I know that. I get it. You have signed a contract deal. They want 6 albums. Well, the iron is hot. I get it. Right.
And again, I'm not. If I were to had been in a bubble and somebody said to me yesterday, "Hey, there's this Van Halen that you never heard of because they were from some other country or something and never got published here," this wouldn't be so appalling to me. It's coupled with the fact that they're praised as being one of the greatest musical, not just showmanship, greatest musical rock bands of all time. At least AC/DC, I came up with a half to 3/4 of every album that I could listen to. This is, and I'm not sure, I'd have to go back, but I know I didn't give rave reviews to Van Halen 2. I might have liked 3 or 4 songs, but we're not in 2 albums. To me, this band is not living up to the hype that they got. That's all I'm saying. Not even close. And if it wouldn't be for David Lee Roth's frontman abilities, I think this band is DOA by the time they release Van Halen 2.
Wow.
There's no substance. At this point, there's very little substance. You got Dance the Night Away and you got Unchained. Your 2 big hits in 3 albums.
And Van Halen's not my favorite band either, bro. I mean, but I do love them because of what they've done. So, I mean, not only our opinions or whatever, man, there's a billion freaking people out here that thinks they were gods, you know? I mean,
I fully accept I'm in the minority. I fully get it.
No,
I just don't get why I am.
I don't think you're in the minority, right? And here's something, and I heard this a long time ago, and at least for me, and I think I can safely speak for Rob. Right? Your formative music years are like between the ages of like 14 and 17 for most people. And the stuff that you listen to then, most people continue to listen to that stuff. That kind of forms their musical heartbeat, right? And you maybe not the same artist, but you gravitate towards the same kind of music for pretty much the rest of your life. Doesn't mean that you won't like some things from the from from before that or after that. But your main vessel that you listen to is always going to be what you generally listen to from the ages of 14 to 17, right? And it's for me. So if you grew up listening to them, and again, maybe there was a lot of good music back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, but I don't know.
I'd have to cash in earlier than that. I'd say the average kid isn't like us, at least like me and Scott, where we grew up at such a young age. The kids today probably at 5, 6, 7 years old don't have a fucking clue what music is or who's playing.
No.
I started at 5 listening to Kiss, and when I say I was a Kiss fan at 5, I'm not saying I liked an album cover and then I forgot all about it, went to play with Tonka trucks. My existence was Kiss. I got Kiss trading cards. I got the Kiss figures. I got Kiss color forms. These are all when I'm 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's all. My toys were Kiss. My listening experience was Kiss. So that led me into Kiss-like bands. Hair metal wasn't the only rock metal out then. I didn't go and start listening to Metallica and stuff like that. I didn't like that. I liked, at the time, the transformation
are two different kinds.
Right, in between when Kiss started phasing out, right, Scott can attest around Creatures of the Night, they really started getting no exposure, canceling tours. And hair metal didn't explode till 84. So that 3-4 year gap, I got into Rick Springfield, my second concert of all time. Billy Squier, whatever MTV was putting out on the harder rock scale, which would be considered pop music now. And then hair metal came out, and I thought, okay, this has still got good melody. It's more heavy like Kiss. I still would never, ever go harder. And I really had a hard time even tolerating it. Like I said, Van Halen doesn't fit anywhere in there for me now. Like I said, it's kind of like its own genre. It's a very unique sound. But I just don't think that they deserve showmanship. Yes. As individual players, they're all damn near virtuosos, right? I'm not sure I'm not a drummer. I don't follow that closely, but I assume Alex Van Halen was considered one of the top dogs. But Michael Anthony, with his bass playing and his killer probably the best backup vocalist in rock history. And of course, Eddie Van Halen being a virtuoso guitar player and David Lee Roth being the ultimate showman. I get why they were the thing to go see. I don't get why the music was coupled as just as good, because until the album 1984, which I don't love, by the way, but I got it. I understood it. It was appealing to pop fans, to rock fans, to guitar shredders. It had a little something for everybody. So I understood why that was so huge. I don't understand. I guess I haven't looked if these albums actually went platinum back then or not. But people who are Van Halen fans will make you think everything they did was the greatest thing on earth. And that, I'm finding out, is the farthest thing from the truth.
No, it ain't that way, man. It's not that with any band.
And I know I'm going to have ridiculous comments out there saying, what a fucking idiot. Eddie Van Halen is this. And Alex, I am not dissing. I am not dissing the members or their qualifications. I'm saying these songs do not live up to the hype that I have heard my whole life. That's all.
I don't know if you will or not, man. I think that, most of the commenters that I see and stuff on there, man, they got some opinions like they got brain damage or something. But anyway, I'm not gonna specify any of them or anything like that. I appreciate every one of them, man.
Oh yeah, I don't care. You say what you want. I'm just saying I want them to understand. I am not dissing them as players. I just don't understand the draw to the song, other than their hit songs, which are damn good. But out of two albums that we've done, out of two albums that we've done with 2 to go before the album I Know Frontward and Backwards, really, I have seen no reason that they have, had this legendary status other than their performance.
Yeah, and see, that goes, we get this shit all the time too, being Kiss fans, man.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason people like them is because how they look and all that shit and all the stuff they do, the show they put on, all that's why people, I'm sorry, man, but it's not. Yeah, that's what drew me to them. I will admit that. But I would not be going years and years and years of my life buying this stuff, listening to it forever, even as an adult, if it wasn't the music, bro. I don't give a damn what you do on stage. I don't care how you look. If what's coming out of them damn speakers is not what I like, man, I'm pretty much done, bro. Yeah, I'm not.
See, maybe that's the other part of it, because unlike you, I had never heard of or seen Van Halen until 1984 when they hit MTV with Jump. I may have heard the name Van Halen, but all their songs, Unchained, Running the Devil, Dancing, all that I heard well after 1984. And I loved, and I loved Panama. I loved Jump. Couldn't stand Hopper Teacher. I love All Wait, my favorite song on that fucking album. I bought that album.
Don't be telling us. Whoa.
I didn't tell you what's my favorite. Well, yeah, I did. Anyway, they'll forget. Anyway, but the bottom line is, then now at 51 years old, I'm going back and hearing the pre-1984 stuff, and you can't deny whether you like this or not. It sounds nothing like that 1984 album. The entire music styling is different.
Yeah, the sound's not the same. No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's why this is just not registering with me.
But I do, like I said, this is my second favorite Van Halen album.
Oh, that's great.
I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority with that, because you're going to have the majority going with Van Halen 1.
Really?
I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and break the ice for you. Yo, hell yeah. Oh, yeah, man. They worship that like it's the damn.
I guess the one I always hear the most when people talk is the name Diver Down.
But that's all covers
for
the most
really?
part.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know.
That's when they really hit their peak. That's when they really went, like Kiss goes through their first 3 albums and hits Alive, and then they really hit their stride at Rock and Roll Over, peaking out, man, Love Gun era. That's when they hit their peak, but Diver Down's far from their best album, bro.
I have no idea, dude. I haven't heard it.
If you want to, my honest opinion, I'm not going to give anything away. Out of their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 albums before Diver Down, I can probably say that I like every one of them better than Diver Down.
Okay.
I like 84 better. That's just my opinion, though. See, so, but yeah, man, yeah, Diver Down was huge.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I know it's hard for you to wrap your head around, but we were so isolated here in North Dakota that the only reason, honestly, I knew who Kiss was is because my brother had an album with a buddy of his that he brought home. Otherwise, I wouldn't have heard him on the radio. There was no MTV. I would have never known who the fuck Kiss was until I'm a teenager or MTV comes out or something. So it seems strange to you being from a bigger area, but for me, the fact that I never heard of Van Halen is not surprising at all, because before 1984, they weren't a radio band either. And around North Dakota, you heard what was the hits, and that's fucking it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. That's why it's. And again, there was probably shit that I never even would have heard of if I hadn't become friends with Rob, right? I mean, because
North Dakota is maybe a big size, square mile, but the population's less than 1 million people in the entire fucking state.
Way.
Oh yeah, and it was
back when I was in high school, I think. It's obviously growing now, but I think it was around 650,000 total people in the entire state, and that includes 2 Air Force bases, right?
And 2 major college towns.
Yep, and 2 big college towns. So
if we didn't see it on TV, or buy magazines. All we heard was what's played on the radio, which if you're talking about late 70s, early 80s, would have been Bruce Springsteen, Michael Jackson, Madonna, as you start getting into that stuff. Or you had the other channel, which was deemed the rock channel, but they'd play stuff like ELO and Boston and Journey and stuff. Right. They weren't playing Kiss, Quiet Riot, AC/DC. In fact, I would have never known who AC/DC was if it wouldn't have been for friends later on. I never fucking... Rockenbach, my neighbor, when I was a kid, had the Dirty Deeds album. That's the only reason I knew who AC/DC was.
But then you also have to consider that by the time something becomes popular in North Dakota, it's been popular somewhere else for at least a year, right? Yeah. So by the time like Guns N' Roses came out with Appetite in 87? I mean, right. It was big in other places. I mean, I don't think we probably heard it in North Dakota until at least 88.
Yeah, it had been out. It had been out a year before they started playing "Welcome to the Jungle" on the radio.
So by that time, you're always playing catch up on the popular music, unless you have friends in other places, or because you'd have to pick up the metal magazines to see what's coming out for other bands. And if you're not reading those things, I mean, Rob had a shitload of those. So, but
even if you did, you're 10 to 15, 16 years old. How are you going to buy them?
Right. No, that's just it.
You can't buy the albums. You go to the music store. Oh, that looks cool. Too bad I made, 50 cents for my allowance. I mean, yeah, it has its benefits living in a small town vibe, but it definitely has its disadvantages culturally.
Yeah, I live in a small town, whatever, but yeah, I can go to any direction and get to a city in 2 or 3 hours time,
Yeah. But yeah, and if we would have had a Minneapolis 200 miles away instead of a Fargo, things might have been different. We don't have any metropolises in North Dakota.
Yeah, I mean, you live in Bismarck.
We don't even have what Sioux Falls does or what South Dakota does in Sioux Falls. We don't even have nothing that big.
Yeah, it's a 7-hour drive to Minneapolis from Bismarck.
Yeah. Wow.
So back then, you'd have to consider that the speed limit was 55, and so it probably would have been a 9-hour drive instead of a 7.
Yeah, so I understand why you're so shocked, Scott, because you grew up with all this music at an early age, but we just didn't have access to it.
Yeah, my uncle's responsible for this, though. He was the Van Halen, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin. He bought all this stuff, man. And we'd slip in there when he was at work or whatever and check out all this stuff. And that's how I got introduced to pretty much all the bands back in the 70s, man.
Right. And I actually remember like my first exposure to Twisted Sister he was a year ahead of me in school, but he lived like a block away, and I was over at his house, and he was neighbors with a teacher's aide. This guy must have been in his early 20s, he'd probably making $10K a year, if that, being like a teacher's aide, but he had long hair. I mean, and so we knocked on his door, went in there, and he had like Twisted Sister posters, and I don't remember which other rock bands, but hardly any furniture, but he had like their VHS of all their videos. And he goes, I probably shouldn't be having students in my house. Right. And, but he popped in that VHS, and it's like, instantly it was like, Jesus Christ, I like this shit. Right. I mean, I like this fucking music. And I was probably 5th grade, 6th grade. I mean, so, and who knows?
Like I said, any radio exposure we were getting in this state was country or hippie music or whatever the new pop music was at the time. That was pretty much it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So anyway, it's a lot of extra reminiscing, I guess. Unchained. Now, still a great song. Off of Fair Warning. We do have, when is your WASP show?
It's 23rd. It's on a Saturday. I think next 23rd? Weekend.
Yep, next Saturday. So that will be our next album. the Wasp debut album.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. Let's go ahead and get it because we can always get something else afterwards. I just wanted to do it before then, so it don't really matter. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to the both of you offline after this episode about the next Kiss album. So still want to plan for that, but I want to talk to you guys about it afterwards.
All right, then I think that will do it for this episode. So until next time, everybody, thanks for watching.